was on the way to just to pick up some items, I noticed that there was an irate gentleman who was in a clear, state of a mental health crisis. I'd observed some wounds on his wrist, as well as bleeding, and a knife that was brandished in his hand. There was a police officer that was nearby who was parked, and when I noticed this man, I walked over, I walked quickly over to the police officer and advised him that there was a man with a knife just behind a white shed. That's when the officer approached. When the officer approached, the man approached the officer quite quickly. The officer gave several directions to drop the weapon that was in his hand. The gentleman did not drop the weapon. The officer tried to back away as quickly as he could, and if I remember correctly, he tried to do a little turnaround to see where else he could run. At that point, the man had really sped up his walking pace, which is when the officer pulled his firearm and gave him some further warnings to drop the weapon, but the man continued to walk at a very quick speed towards the officer, and the officer shot him twice. And then just moments after the officer had shot him, the man had collapsed to the ground, and I had started resuscitative efforts on the gentleman, including CPR, and controlling bleeding from the gunshot wounds and stuff like that.
Was the knife like this? Was it off to the side? Was he pointing it towards the officer in the end?
It was up like this. His arms were up like this. He was just walking quickly towards the officer saying, I don't know what he was saying, but the officer was giving him several reminders to drop the weapon. I think one of the last things I heard the officer say was, "I don't want to hurt you." His voice was breaking, and I could just see the terrifying look in his face. And I'd also made some, comments to the man, just drop the knife, we can help you. But unfortunately, the officer had to shoot.